I'm Link Smith, president of the MOAA Public Affairs and Communication Virtual Professional Chapter. Our mission is to help tell the story. And let's get over to Captain Kevin Wensing, United States Navy retired, that will introduce us to our guest speaker.
Thank you very much, Link. I appreciate it. Welcome, everybody, and hope everybody's doing well. I want to welcome Command Master Chief Victor Smith with the Navy Memorial in Washington, D.C. as our speaker today. Very grateful you could join us. Last week, I had the privilege of going to the Lone Sailor Dinner, which was phenomenal. And the Navy Memorial is doing great things. And so that's why we wanted to invite Master Chief Smith to come on and give us a little update on what the Navy Memorial is doing, and especially with the Navy Marine Corps 250th birthday. So I'll turn it over to you, Master Chief.
Real quick about me. I've been here coming up on 4 years. Came straight into the job after when I retired in 2021. Initially got hired to be the director of the Delbert D. Black National Chiefs Mess. And I still do that, but I also last November took over as vice president of programs and events. So whereas before I just managed the events for the Chiefs Mess and the chief related events, now I own all the events and programs. So Navy Memorial, the foundation was established in 1977. The memorial was dedicated in 1987. So we're coming up on 40 years for the memorial itself and 50 years for the foundation. But our mission is to honor, recognize, and celebrate men and women of the sea services, past, present, and future, and to inform the public about their service. So that we are focused, we often get confused with the Navy Museum. We're not the Navy Museum. They're the equipment people because they get all the cool stuff. We like to think of ourselves as the people place. We focus on the people and their service. We have about 35 programs that we run each year, and if you count up all the things that happen here, we have about 300 events. And some of those public-facing events where the public is openly invited, you'll see on the slide there is one of the big ones is our blessing of the fleet. So being up here in DC, the fountains can't stay on year round. And so they get shut down for the winter, and this is how we bring them back to life in the spring. And it's always the last Saturday of the Cherry Blossom Festival. We kind of do that on purpose because there's a big parade here down here that day. And so it gets a lot more eyeballs on it than if we just did it on another weekend. We typically have 800 to 1,000 people in attendance for that. And the big thing that's kind of unique and neat about that is we contact the Navy and work with the Navy, and we request water from the Seven Seas and the Great Lakes. So the Navy sends taskers out to the North Pacific, South Pacific, to various units, and that they ship us a container of water from their area. We then take that water and we put it into these 4 glass vials, and the Navy Ceremonial Guard will help us with this event. And a chief of chaplains or one of the chaplains from the area will give a blessing, and then they will charge those fountains with that water. So it's pretty neat. Last year, one of our staff just happened to know her husband's an active duty CB, a CEC officer, but they had a mutual friend that was down in Antarctica when that request came in. So he's the one that actually gathered the water for us down there. And he sent us pictures of them gathering that with all the penguins around and stuff. It was pretty neat. It's a pretty neat event. We also do 4 wreath laying events throughout the year. As you see, Memorial Day, Battle of Midway. That one kind of moves around based on what else is going on. We try and stay off of June 6th for obvious reasons with D-Day, but it's somewhere around the 4th each year. And then we do POW MIA Day and Remembrance Day, which is tomorrow. We're doing that event tomorrow. Veterans Day, and then Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. We also do Concerts on the Avenue and Navy Band concerts. So that's the U.S. Navy band coming. The Concerts on the Avenue is the full band. And it's fantastic. The Navy band is phenomenal anyway. But with our location and the acoustics that's created by the two buildings surrounding the memorial, it's just a phenomenal event. The Navy band concert, that's some of their smaller ensembles. There's Country Current, Commodores, the Sea Chanters, and can't remember the fourth one, but all in all, we do about 12 concerts. There's usually about 7 concerts on the Avenue, and then 5 of the smaller ensembles. For the concerts on the Avenue, we also do a reception before that, and I've got a slide kind of covers that a little bit, so we'll wait for that. And then movies on the memorial. We show some movies. We have a big inflatable screen, invite the public in, and then try and show things that hopefully that they would be willing to come down and watch rather than sitting on their couch and watch. Top Gun Maverick was a big hit the year it came out. We showed it probably 4 or 5 times that summer. But it's a good time. Here's the concerts on the Avenue. So the receptions, what these are based around is Director Navy staff works with Naval District Washington to get flag officers to host those events. So we get the CNO generally hosts one, the MCPON will host one, SecNav generally does. Although he did this year, but it got canceled. And then last night the new CNO Admiral Cottle, he didn't have a chance to do one this summer because of the flux with the CNO's office, but we did one last night with him. And it gives them a chance to invite, like it says, 100 to 150 guests focused on a specific area for outreach. So think industry, last night it was veteran service organizations. So we had a lot of other veteran service organizations here last night. And then they'll do Navy families. They'll try and get Capitol Hill involvement, PSMs and such down here. We did foreign attaches one night. There were 26 countries represented here for that reception. That was a great night. But it's really an outreach tool for the Navy to use to be able to reach into some of these communities. We've had educators was a focus one time. So we had a bunch of teachers, principals, and stuff like that from the Northern Virginia schools. So pretty good event, and it's a good time. But as Kevin mentioned, our premier event of the year is our Lone Sailor Awards dinner. We did that last Tuesday last week. Admiral Stavridis was a recipient, and then Chuck Sams, the outgoing director of the National Park Service. He is a Navy veteran and was recognized also. We have 2 categories of those awards. We have the Lone Sailor Award, which is for anybody who has served in the sea services that is selected through their performance while in uniform and out of uniform. They bring credit upon themselves in the Navy or the sea services, I should say. And then the other thing is that they have openly kind of credited their time in service as part of their success in life. Obviously, a career sailor like Admiral Stavridis, that's probably pretty easy. But Chuck Sams routinely and regularly credited his time in the Navy. He was a IS as a intelligence specialist, as key to his success. He's Native American also, and a great advocate for the Native American community. So the other category of the award is of the award that we sometimes present is the Naval Heritage Award. And really the criteria is the same with the exception of they don't have to have served in the sea services. So to give you an example, Senator Daniel Noye was a recipient of the Naval Heritage Award because he served in the Army, even though he has a destroyer named after him. but because he served in the Army, he's a Naval Heritage Award recipient. We've awarded 104 Lone Sailor Awards in our time. The first one was in 1987 with the author Herman Wouk. And then we've done 16 Naval Heritage Award recipients, with the most recent being last year with Senator Collins. So, Fantail Breakfast Series. So this is an event that we do that's very tailored and very kind of a small group event. We get senior Navy leaders. We had SecNav CNO, think NAVC, Naval Sea Systems Command, NAVFAC, Naval Facilities Command, and it's a chance for them to engage with industry partners in a very small group setting. They talk about what's going on in kind of their bailiwick and what they're doing, but it gives the industry partners a chance to ask them questions. So what you hear a lot is, hey, what can we do to help you out? Those kind of questions. Back in August, for the first time ever, we did a joint Fantail breakfast with Marine Corps and the Navy. It was a huge success, and in November we're doing another one. They're great. These are done under Chatham House rules, so we don't film it. We do take some still photos, like you see, just from a PR perspective after the fact. But nothing that's discussed in there is attributable to the speaker. Though we have seen them come out afterwards and talk a little bit about the event. So the other big series we like to do is Bridgewing Chat. There's actually one going on right now. I stepped out of it to come in here to do this, and it is being moderated by Matt Sermon, the direct report for Maritime Industrial Base, and there's 4 panel members there with him from the Maritime Industrial Base, and very focused on Maritime Industrial Base. We've got lead contractors for Maritime Industrial Base in the audience, but more importantly, we were able to get in kind of the second and third level suppliers and subcontractors involved with the Maritime Industrial Base also. And it's a panel discussion, so they talk, they've got some of their talking points, and then they open it up to the audience, which is again filled with a lot of industry partners and people in academia that are interested in the Maritime Industrial Base and shipbuilding that we have, not just the military, but also the civilian side, private shipbuilding, that the big push is of this administration. SITREP Speaker Series. This is a one-on-one discussion that Admiral Nowell does with again another senior Navy leader, MCPON, SecNav. You see Daryl Caudle there, Admiral Caudle. At that one, he was Fleet Forces. It was last December. We're trying to get him back again as CNO so that he can talk about his agenda and what's on his mind. I'm working one here with the new MCPON, again for the same purpose, so the new MCPON can get his message out and really talk to the people. It is a live streamed event, so it's live. People can get on the platform. We send the link out and ask questions. We do questions from the audience, so it is somewhat interactive. And I found a lot of the speakers, if we give them the questions afterwards, they'll sometimes reach out and respond to those outside of the live stream event. We get several thousand views throughout the year, which isn't huge, but it's been growing as we get the word out. And then I just recently started uploading them as podcasts so people can listen to them. Because some people just like to consume stuff like that way. So just trying to get out as many communication passes as we can. National Chiefs Mess is what I own, and it is home of all things chief, basically, to put it succinctly. We have some artifacts and displays there, but it's really trying to capture kind of the history of the Navy chief and to continue to promote what we are as a group and the networking that we do while on active duty, and trying to expand that out to post service time, and really trying to capture the Marine Corps culture model, which is once you're a chief for life. Marine, there are no ex-Marines, right? They're Marines. And we're trying to build that culture in the Chiefs Mess ourselves. Some of the legacy programs that we offer, and for your awareness, we have commemorative plaques. We have about 660 commemorative plaques that commemorate either individuals, an individual ship or command, or an association. Think Tailhook, Tin Can Sailor Association, some of those associations. We do that. People can do theater chairs. So we have little brass plaques on the theater chairs to people, so people can honor somebody's service. The bench program, which we just started, and you'll see the picture there with the cover sitting on it. That is teak. It's a very, very nice bench. And that's a program we just started up this year. Honor a Chief program. We had flag officers and senior Navy officers that wanted a way to support the National Chiefs Mess, and they couldn't become members unless they were an honorary chief. So we created this program for a way for them to support what we're doing, but to really is to honor a chief. So it's a little different than you see some of our other exhibits where we have the bio of the sailor being recognized. This one isn't their bio; it's the description of the person honoring them of why they want to honor. So you think command master chiefs or just influential chiefs. We had Admiral Thorpe did his for his first chief as a young division officer. Was a huge impact on his life and his career, and so he wanted to honor him. So there's some pretty neat ones there. There's a picture of the one I did down there next to my mentor that I wanted to honor for. I definitely wouldn't have gotten to where I was if it hadn't been for his mentorship. So other legacy programs, obviously the kind of the standards out there, the wills and bequests, beneficiary designations, endowed gifts, and then donor advised funds. We offer all those. We did do CGAs in the past. We're kind of getting away from that, but there's ways that you can support the things that we're doing here. Kind of new for 2025. Back in April, we launched a exhibit focused on the maritime industrial base and then the submarine force. It kind of all started out as a submarine industrial base exhibit, and then while we were going through the whole process of doing it, it combined to the maritime industrial base, so kind of expanded the scope of that exhibit. But it was the 125th year of the anniversary of the submarine force, so we have two displays there. One of them is submarine force focused. The other one is maritime industrial base focused. Talk about all the active shipyards as we continue. It's a digital interactive exhibit. So that the nice thing about it is we can continue to build on it. And our goal is to go down to that second and third level supplier and support manufacturer level because I don't think most people aren't necessarily aware. They see the big shipyards, but they don't realize that virtually every state in the country has industries there that are supporting the maritime industrial base through building of parts and supplies and the things that go into building those ships. Last December, the Navy Recruiting Strike Group did their ribbon cutting on the plaza. They had the entire strike group here. If you haven't seen it, it's phenomenal. Some of you may have been familiar with the Nimitz truck that they did before. They would take around to Navy weeks and high schools and other places as a recruiting tool. Well, they've taken that and they've built it to where it's more modular. They estimated they were missing up to 200 events a year because they just couldn't supply it with the two trucks they had. So now they've broken it down to where they can send piecemeal out to different events and cover more events. They've got these smaller cubes that are pulled by Jeep Gladiators, and then they've got the bigger cubes that are pulled by I think Suburbans or a larger vehicle. I don't remember what kind of vehicle, but it allows them to hit more places. So we debuted that there here and for the week of Army Navy, the Army Navy game, since it was here at the stadium in Northwest DC. And we continued our discussion with Navy recruiting and got them, they're going to give us 2 of the cubes to put in the Navy Memorial Visitor Center to be here as permanent exhibits, so that, essentially we can kind of be another recruiting station for them, allow the recruiters to be able to bring people in. But more importantly, what we felt was kind of our role in it was to connect influencers to, and I don't mean like YouTube influencers, I mean moms, dads, the coaches, the teachers, the whoever in life influences our young men and women to want to join the military. There's a way to kind of inform them a little more about what the Navy is about, in hopes that that would be a positive influence on their choosing to join the Navy, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, or the Merchant Marines. And then the other thing this year that we kind of leaned into was we've kind of always had a youth and education program, and I'll go into that a little more here in another slide. But this year we really leaned into it because we found that there was a lot of interest in that type of program from corporate sponsors, but also it was a way for us to again reach into younger generations in that inform piece that we do. So there's a picture of the ribbon cutting from the Maritime Industrial Base exhibit that we did. You see the 2 screens there behind, and lots of information again about shipbuilding and manufacturing. More importantly, the big push for this was the skilled workforce they need, making people aware of all the jobs that are available in the industrial base that are needed to support the shipbuilding plans that our country has going out the next 10 years. I'm sure the estimates are all over the place, but they were talking about 100,000 skilled workers over the next 10 years to meet our shipbuilding demand. So that's a pretty lucrative business for skilled workers. Here's the 2 exhibits that we're going to get. So one of them, the first one's Achieve. So basically, you answer a few kind of questions about your personality as far as the things you like to do or don't like to do. And then it matches you to kind of the best fits in the Navy based on your interests. And more importantly, it takes a picture of you, but it de-ages you. So you don't have all the wrinkles and everything else. You look like a young sailor in the correct uniform, as you can kind of see in those pictures. And it's pretty neat. I will tell you, the ones that did it me, I look fantastic. That sailor would have been a problem. I look so good. So, and then the other one is the support exhibit, and that one's just to inform the general public about kind of the things the Navy does around the world, not just from our operations in the Red Sea and the stuff we do like that, but tsunami relief and sending out the USS Comfort and the Mercy to third world countries where they provide medical and dental care to the populace there. So it talks about those missions also. The youth and education, we have gotten expanded our contact list to where now we're communicating with the Sea Cadets quite frequently, JROTC, ROTC, young Marines, not just inviting them to our events, but also including them in our events. Kevin can tell you we had the Sea Cadets at the Lone Sailor Awards dinner, and they helped out by providing escort services for some of the awardees and some of the other people, and then they had a table at the dinner and were recognized at the dinner. But we're really trying to expand that out by including them, since they have an active interest already. And our other part of our youth and education programs, we have a junior sailor program here. It is part of the National Park Service's Junior Ranger program. They gave us permission to call it Junior Sailor instead of Junior Ranger, but it's built on the same thing. There's activities for them to do. If they complete so many, they get a wooden badge just like they would get at any other national park, except it has our logo on it. It says Junior Sailor instead of Junior Ranger. History and heritage of the sea services. We have engaging activities that are used by available and used by many schools. We have about 10 schools that are active partners with us. but it gives them activities to do that are very sea service focused to again inform them kind of more of what we do. We have the traditions where they can learn to spell things with signal flags and Morse code and knot tying, and this is a turnkey operation. We provide the curriculum to them. We have a person that we work with who's a kind of a contract employee, Dr. Matt Fash. He's a school administrator up in Pennsylvania. And he's involved in our Stories of Service program also. That came from him. He brought that to us back in 2007, has been doing it since. But he creates the curriculum when he goes to conferences, he talks about it, and he gets other schools involved. You know, his dream is to get it nationally to where we've got high schools all over the country doing it. We just recently expanded to a college where we had a former intern, sea service intern that is now in college who is taking it to the college. And we've made contact with Student Veterans of America, and they are very interested in it also, as far as the Stories of Service program. Stories of Service, if you're not familiar with it, it's really basically we have 22 volunteers that help us out, and they go to ship reunions and they interview veterans about their time in service, their time on board the ship. And it's really eye-watering. We have 3,000 plus interviews now over the time that we've done it. And we've had people do interviews and then their family watches it, and their family tells us that it's the first time they've heard some of those stories. So they really open up to us, and it's really great. We just recently launched kind of an offshoot of it called Untold Stories of Service. We were approached by a gentleman named Richard Sherman, who wrote a book. Actually show it to you. It's called Never Home. He spent several years. He's a retired Navy himself, a Navy officer. He spent several years visiting all of the cemeteries outside of the U.S. where we have service members buried. And he did this book. He selected a group of people from various cemeteries around the world, and then did this book. And he approached us as hey, what can we do? And we developed this Untold Stories, which is, it's telling their story because they didn't get a chance to come home and tell it. We've got 4 episodes of that out now, and we'll continue to go through 12, and we're talking to him about expanding that and beyond and continuing, because he's got many, many more stories than what's in the book. And we try and focus on sea service veterans, but he has veterans from all services in there that he covered. That's the one thing I should tell you about the Stories of Service. When they go to these reunions or they go to these places, they don't turn anybody away. So there's some reunions where it's not just Navy people. There could be Army, Air Force, Marine Corps. It doesn't matter. We don't turn anybody away. The other thing I should tell you about these Stories of Service, so they are done to meet the requirements of the Library of Congress's oral history program. So many of these end up getting submitted to the Library of Congress and are now in their records for future generations, for researchers, for whoever wants to use it. And that's the one thing that's a little unique about our program, is we don't turn any veteran away, regardless of their service. Just because we're the Navy Memorial, we still want to get those stories. So this is, I kind of threw this together. It's the other events. We have about 190 honor flights that visit us a year. Several of them eat lunch in the visitor center. We do it at no cost to them. They already have their lunch set up for their visit to DC. We just give them a place to do it that is air conditioned and outside the weather. And so we set tables up for them, and they come in and sit and eat their lunch. During chief initiation season, we give tours to chief messes that come to DC for their kind of heritage visit. We get 30 plus messes a year, 1,000 chief selects and chiefs. and provide them a guided tour of the whole memorial, but certainly focused on the National Chiefs Mess. That's why a lot of them do come. In addition to that, we offer guided tours to various military organizations and or corporate companies that want a tour. We do 15 to 20 of those a year, and that's growing as word gets out that we offer that. We do movie premieres. We have a fantastic theater. If you haven't seen it or haven't been here, you should next time you're here. Last year we upgraded it to an LED wall, so it's a 17 by 34 foot LED wall. It's got 9,123,840 pixels. I took their word for it. I didn't count those myself, but it's phenomenal, phenomenal. We also upgraded the sound system to 7.1 surround sound. It is fantastic. But because of that, we were already doing movie premieres before, but even more people are interested now. We do a lot of corporate events and conferences. We have Bank of America's coming in here in the near future to do an all-day event here where they'll do a conference. We're fully live stream capable in there, so they can have other branches of their company on at the same time and be able to talk back in a live Zoom capability or Teams or various others. So that's a great opportunity. We do retirements and promotions here. Last week, we did the McPon's change of office here, where McPon Honey turned over to McPon Perriman. President Carter's state funeral, the Navy Memorial played a prominent role in that. As he was the president that authorized the building of the Navy Memorial, and part of his desires for his state funeral is for the Navy Memorial to be involved. And so the transfer of the casket from the hearse to the caisson happened directly in front of the Navy Memorial. And so that was a great event for us. We had about 40 Naval Academy midshipmen there, as well as the superintendent of the midshipmen they were in formation and rendered honors. It was a great event. And then for the inauguration, the inauguration parade ended up getting canceled due to the temperatures, but the parade route is directly on Pennsylvania Avenue right in front of us, and it offers us a great venue to be able to do an event like that for any inauguration because it happens right here. And we had about 120 people here, had food. We ended up putting all the news coverage on that big LED screen, and so they were able to watch that the inauguration and that whole event. But really, I mentioned that to promote that we're such a great venue. We are literally halfway between Capitol Hill and the White House. We're 701 Pennsylvania Avenue. 701, 801 are kind of the one block here. So, and we're right in the middle of that. Just upcoming for general knowledge, we're doing that Bridge Wing chat today. We're doing a sit rep with Vice Admiral Downey, who's Naval Sea Systems Command on October 7th. The Navy birthday we are not doing a specific event on that. And part of that is we're working with the Navy 250 and Marine Corps 250 folks, but there are so many other events going on that we're not doing one specifically here because it just would be a huge conflict with some of those other events. However, we are, as you note there in the bottom right, all of our events this year were Navy 250 focused or Marine Corps 250. So at the Lone Sailor Awards Dinner, we did tributes to Navy 250 and Marine Corps 250, and literally every event we have, we talk about that, and we'll continue to do that into America 250 next year. To the point of there's a big initiative for America 250 on Pennsylvania Avenue that's going on. There's a committee put together to do that will play a prominent role in. The Fantail Breakfast there, November 18th. December 2nd, we're doing the Double D Black Leadership Award dinner. That award is given to the top Command Master Chief, Command Senior Chief, or Chief of the boat in their first tour each year. And we do the dinner here to recognize that recipient every year. And then missed Veterans Day, the wreath laying, as I mentioned before, and then Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day wreath laying. That event is happening. So that's kind of the overall of all the stuff that we do. And really what we do to kind of meet that mission of recognizing, honoring, and celebrating the people of the sea services. But again, that fourth verb is probably our most focused, which is inform the public. We get a lot of travel. We get about 40,000 people through the door every year. 40 to 50,000. It's coming back up after COVID. But we want to make sure when they come through, not only do they have a memorable visit, but that we're kind of telling the story of our sailors, Marines, Coast Guardsmen, and Merchant Marines that have donned the cloth and have served this country, and that's kind of our focus. So,
Well, Master Chief, thank you very much for that great briefing. And I was going to say I was very fortunate. I signed up and I went to the inauguration event you had, and luckily I got there. Even though the parade was canceled, I got there just in time, and I was walking on the plaza as a presidential motorcade, and the vice president were zooming down toward the Capitol. But it was nice and toasty inside that beautiful theater with that great high definition screen to watch that. Met a lot of nice, wonderful people there, and so forth. So thank you very much for that. And I've been over there a couple times when you've had the honor flight visits, which were also fantastic because to see all those old timers, all those veterans there, and a couple times it's nice, especially to get out of the heat and get into the beautiful Navy Memorial.
Yeah.
So thank you. And as you mentioned, the Sea Cadets, it was great seeing them at the Lone Sailor dinner. I was going to say I've jotted down a few ideas for potential Lone Sailor and Heritage Awards, and I'll send those to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to ask, I signed up years ago for the Navy log, and you have a Navy log, right? I don't know what it
I
takes
can't
to
believe I missed that. Yeah. So
put that in. How many people are in the Navy log? Because that's a great
there-
way to kind of memorialize your service.
yeah, there's a little over 770,000 names in the Navy log. It is the largest publicly accessible repository of sea service veterans. We have some going back to the early 1800s. Family has put them in there. We don't get provided anything. That is all entered by individuals or family members or loved ones. I entered myself. I entered my dad and my stepdad, who are both Navy veterans. But that's how we get people in there. Our big push now is to try and get to make it more of a living log. A lot of the names in there are people that have passed, but getting current or recently served sailors, sea service veterans in there. But yeah, it's a started out as a fundraiser to help build the memorial. It went free in the mid-90s, so it doesn't cost you anything to put your information in there. But it is used by some of those interns or sea service programs we have for research and for doing their documentaries or their reports on those veterans. So
Well, hopefully, I don't know if Link Smith is in there, but MOAA has like something like what 35,000 members. So we'll have to get the word out because I'm sure there's a few thousand Navy people that are MOAA members, and hopefully they can all join the Navy log. One other question before I open it to the rest of everybody, I was going to ask about the Chiefs mess, and you said you can kind of do something to honor a chief. I remember you mentioned Frank Thorpe. I wanted to honor his first chief, and
yeah,
there was a Master Chief Davidson who was on my first ship, who was on the battleship Missouri at World War II, and then he was our Master Chief on the
wow.
USS Tripoli. And I'm thinking that we've got a Facebook group of all the former Tripoli sailors and so forth. And I'll follow up with you because I'd like to figure out how we can maybe honor him.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was quite a guy. And there might I'll let other people ask questions. I'll shut up now. Thank you very much again.
Outstanding. Thank you very much, Victor Smith, the Vice President, Programs and Events, and also at the United States Navy Memorial, and the National Director, or Director of the National Chiefs Mess. Fantastic to have you join us this afternoon. Thank you very much, and we look forward to a great partnership with you in the future. That's just why we're here this afternoon, Vic. And you are our partner. You have a voice with this chapter in the future, and we look forward to you joining us again, as you so desire.